Welcome to the first of the Carroll Middle School 6th grade science podcast. This is actually part 1 of 2 for the Chapter 5 quiz, which is scheduled for this Wednesday, December 14th, 2011. This is going to be going over the success guide, so you'll definitely want to have that out as we go along. Now, few notes for as we're going through this. First of all, you want to have your success guide out or your study guide out and follow along with me as I go through it. You can play, pause, stop, and rewind this video at any time. It's kind of one of the nice parts. You don't have to wait for me to go back and talk about it again. You can just click and rewind it and replay it. Watch this as many times as you want. There is no limit on watching this. And of course, the study guide does not have a due date on it, but if you want to do well on the quiz, you should do it. Mr. Windmiller and I both see this as being one of those things that you need to make sure you do, but we're not going to grade it because it should be part of your responsibilities. And you should fill it out as you study with your parents. Make sure you have them help you out with this. They want to help you out to make sure you are successful. So let's get started on the Chapter 5 Success Guide. You need to know the definitions for these words. The first word is energy. And as we talked about in class, energy is the ability to do work or cause change. Gravitational potential energy is the next one. Remember, that is referring to the potential energy related to an object's height. So if I hold an object up higher in the air, it's going to have more potential energy than when it's down lower. You can see an example here in the roller coaster. You can see the roller coaster starts out at a height up at the very top, but as it goes down, it loses some of its potential energy. Potential energy is then converted into a different type of potential or a different type of energy. Power is referring to the rate at which work is done. So if I'm looking at how fast work is being done, that tells me what the actual power is going to be. So if I'm looking at how much energy I'm expelling or how much energy I'm putting in over the next 10 minutes, that's referring to the power that I'm using. Some of the other types of energy we've talked about include nuclear energy. Nuclear energy is the type of potential energy that is stored in the nucleus of an atom. Remember, that is inside the atom. It is within the interior nucleus, and it is holding the atom together. Some of the other words we've looked at are kinetic energy. Kinetic energy is the energy of an object due to its motion. So it's because the object is moving. If an object's not moving, odds are it has potential energy, whereas when it is moving, it always has kinetic energy. Potential energy is referring to the energy that results from a position or a shape of an object. The position, as we talked about, is gravitational potential energy. The shape of an object would be like if I stretch a rubber band out. It has an energy stored in that rubber band, as you know when it snaps back and hits your hand. Another example is looking at throwing a baseball in the air. You can see as the baseball goes up, it loses kinetic energy and it becomes more potential energy. So the maximum potential energy is at the top, while the minimum kinetic is occurring at that same point. Down at the bottom, we usually have maximum kinetic because you're throwing it up and it's moving the fastest, whereas it has a very low potential energy because it has less potential to fall. Mechanical energy is referring to the form of energy associated with the motion, position, or shape of an object. Basically, it is the addition of kinetic energy and potential energy. They're added together. So if you take a look at the guy shooting the bow and arrow, the total energy of the system, or the total energy of him pulling back on the arrow, and the tension within the strings, which would be your elastic potential energy, is the mechanical energy. And of course, there's also work. And work is when you exert a force on an object that causes the object to move. If you remember in class, at least for my students, I tried pushing the wall down, and we determined that I did no work because even though I was pushing as hard as I could, the object never moved, and so therefore it was not having any work done on it. One of the most important concepts to make sure you include in this this entire summary is the law of conservation of energy. Remember, energy can neither be created nor destroyed. And so whenever we're doing anything with energy, it's always staying the same. Now, you can actually search YouTube for what's called the Energy Song, and it's actually a somewhat entertaining song that Mr. Windmiller was able to find. The next thing we are going to take a look at is going to be the different topics, and I'm going to save that for Podcast 2. So make sure you click down below for Podcast 2.